Welcome to the third episode of Know Your Archaeologist. I am Ankita Sharma, and I am a postgraduate in archaeology and heritage management. Without any further delay, let me introduce you to our today's guest, Ms. Tiya Chatterji. She is from museology and archaeology background. She has keen interest in maritime studies. She is also a writer. She has recently refurbished the Tenzing Norgay Museum at the Indian Mountaineering Foundation and is currently working as a researcher with the Indian Navy History Division. So, hello, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Ankita. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Okay. So, ma'am, tell us about your academic background and your interest in underwater archaeology.
Okay, so my academic background is pretty diverse, and but in my head it all makes sense. So I was actually like after my 10th grade, I opted for biology because I was interested in biology, and that's what good children do. Good students study science. So I did that. But then the final revelation happened when they asked me to dissect a frog, and I said, my heart is too faint. I can't do that. And by that time, I also realized that I have like more sort of interest in literature and history. So then I shifted to humanities, and after that I did my graduation in history honors from Kirodimal College, Delhi University. Then I did my first master's in archaeology from Deccan College, Pune. Then I came back to Delhi. I did another master's in museology from the National Museum Institute, New Delhi. Then I went back to Pune. I worked as a documentation assistant on one of their projects, the NMMA project, which is going on. And after that, I abruptly shifted, I think luckily shifted to maritime research. I did 2 years of my research on underwater archaeology. I wrote this book. And after that, I've been actively, involved in research. I do a lot of academic and non-academic and creative writing. So that's the academic side of me. Like, weird, I know.
So, what kind of training and skills are required to become an underwater archaeologist?
I think, see, this is going to be different for, I think it's different in like across countries. Okay. So to understand it, I'll try to simplify. So marine archaeology is like a broad umbrella term, which basically talks about man's interaction with the sea. So we are studying that process, the evolution. So you can say like studying seafaring, the history, the present, and so on and so forth. So marine archaeology is that. Then you have further subdivisions. You have, say, underwater archaeology, which talks about only the submerged, say, sites or wrecks and artifacts. Then you also have a branch of nautical archaeology, which only focuses on shipwrecks. They could be submerged, they could be partially submerged, or they could also be in a museum. So this is, I think, the most accepted definition, but it could vary in different countries and in different institutions. The only difference is that in the West, you have a lot of short and long-term dedicated courses for marine archaeology and underwater archaeology, unlike India. So I think to be a marine archaeologist, you need to have a good understanding and a background of archaeology, also history preferably. And you definitely need to be a advanced level PADI certified scuba diver, because without that, you cannot get into the domain itself. So I think, yeah, that is what you need to be a marine archaeologist.
I was asking you about one of your own underwater adventures.
See, like, I think I missed out the first question when you asked me why what is my interest in underwater archaeology. So I'll answer that because that's related to this. I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah.
So I've always been very attracted towards the oceans and the beaches. Like, I'm also like a very nature person. I like being in solitude. But the catch here is that I was somehow a water phobic, like till recent. And I don't know why that happened, but I was a water phobic. So I would watch a lot of documentaries, and I would watch Nat Geo Discovery. And as I started my studies in history and archaeology, I got more interested. I would read about stray references of submerged Dwarka, Mahabalipuram, or the Atlantis, and I would just be enchanted. I would say, yeah, this is such an amazing discipline to study. But since I was water phobic and I did not hear happening in India, So I was like, okay, this is something which is not my cup of tea, but I always admired it. But then fortunately at Maritime Research Center, Pune, I got my first break. So I'm glad. Now, underwater, so I think being a waterphobic and opting for underwater, like marine archaeological studies at not a very young age itself was pretty adventurous. But then, so I went for, so I basically was not a diver when I was doing my research, and those elements are not there in
Okay.
my book. So my book is basically focused on secondary and tertiary sources, okay, not on primary.
Okay.
Now, like 2 3 days ago, I was having a discussion with someone about how we actually are very obsessed with primary sources, but okay, that's another topic. So I basically went for my diving first, like after a month of my book release, and I think the good and the horrific part was I went, but like it was like 5 minutes in water, and I got bitten like by a jellyfish, not a poisonous one, thankfully, and it stung on both my legs. It was very painful, but my instructor is really good, so I still made it,
Hmm.
and I think that was like the most adventurous and horrific thing which happened. But it also sort of prepares you, what lies ahead. So I think, yeah, as of now, that is what it is. But I think the more I dive, I'll have better stories to share with you guys next time. So,
Yeah, for sure. So, y- like these were the only challenges. Like, were there any other challenges while opting for this underwater archaeology, or these were the only ones? What
I
kind of
think there are,
challenges did you?
yeah, I think there are a lot of challenges, okay, when we talk about
Hmm.
underwater archaeology, because see, firstly, we do not have any we do not have any courses which basically there's no like MA marine archaeology or MA underwater archaeology.
Yeah,
So it's very vague.
yeah,
In India, we don't know who is actually a marine archaeologist, which is good in a way, and it is also bad because it gives the liberty ki
yeah,
anyone will go and do it and say, Are, we did marine archaeology. Okay. Now,
yeah,
one more thing is that marine, see, there are also studies, there's also intangible cultural heritage, when we're talking about marine archaeology, the umbrella term, that you can also do it on
hmm,
land. But when we're specifically talking about
yeah,
underwater archaeology, that I am interested in, that you have to be a diver and all of that. So I think one
hmm,
of the biggest challenges what I face is when everybody tells you you cannot do it. तुमसे तो नहीं हो पाएगा. Why would you do it? How would you do it? And second challenge was me myself, because I was a waterphobic, so I was so scared,
yeah,
because it is, and there are so many stories, half knowledge is bad. People will tell you you don't know how to swim, and they don't know that swimming and diving there is no connection. So all of those
huh,
things were there,
yeah,
and my own fears were also there. And most importantly is finances. Scuba diving is not like a cheap thing to do. The
hmm,
ones which you do just for the photos and all, that is okay, 3 4 5K. But if you want
yeah,
to do a course which is certified, like if like I have a license now for diving up to 40 feet anywhere in the world, that costs
hmm,
you money. Then you need time also. You need at least like 10 days. Like it takes a week for 2 courses, but you need a buffer 3 days because you cannot fly after diving. So a lot
yeah,
of these things are there, you have to see your finances, you have to see your time, you have to be prepared for it. And you definitely need to beat all those people who told you cannot do it. And definitely underwater it's very different, okay, because it's not only jellyfish, anything can happen. I got cut by corals so many times. I couldn't
oh,
control my movement, and I went too close, I got excited, and I cut my knees and my hands and whatnot. But it's a fun thing, that's how you learn. Underwater is it's a very, like it's an amazing world. And what interests me more, and why I want, despite these bad things which happen, why I want to keep continue doing it, because it is completely unexplored. There's
hmm,
so much you can do, because you imagine, we have such a wide long coastline in India, and
yes,
imagine the
yes,
amount of intangible and tangible heritage that we have. Nobody talks about it,
yes,
nobody wants to do that. So I think these are all the challenges. And see, they exist at various levels. For example, when I was doing my research, I wanted to do diving, then only I wanted it to come in my book, okay. But
hmm,
then that did not happen because there are so many constraints. That depends on your guide, depends on you yourself, the area of your study, finances, institution, and so many admin problems. So one does get stuck in these things. and to move out
Yes.
of that hierarchy and bureaucracy is very problematic, but yeah, it exists in our country. So I think, yeah, these are broadly too many challenges in the domain. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now you are a researcher working in the with the Indian Navy History Division. So
Yeah.
tell us how you got there, and also tell us about your research there. What is the focus and what your result will be?
Okay. This for this answer, I would apologize beforehand because I might not be able to share a lot of details because I'm working for the defense right now. So how I
Yeah.
got with these people, it was by chance. Okay, so I was working as a associate editor for a Bombay-based e-magazine, and I was trying to work with them to organize an event, and that's when I met the director of our project. He's Commodore Shrikant Kesnood, very decorated officer, and he writes amazing. And he's a pioneer in maritime history. And I just discussed with him my background, and he said, okay. And I told him, sir, if you have something in maritime, can you please tell me? Because even if you want to do something in maritime, there's no opportunity, like especially in
Yeah.
terms of maritime history. There's commercial
Yeah.
maritime, is there shipping and everything, but the
Mhm.
heritage part is so neglected. I mean, the normal
Yeah.
heritage on land is only bichara neglected. So underwater is, so no one cares. So then he said that there is a project. It's not related to underwater archaeology, but it's related to maritime. Would you still want to do it? And I thought working with the defense is really amazing because at Maritime Research Center also, the director is a retired commander. So I was actually having that defense, sort of affinity. So I was happy. That's how I got to Naval History Division, and I got selected. And I work as a researcher there. So what I basically do is, so see, they have a lot of in-house publications of different natures, okay, which is mostly in-house. It's for the service. It never comes out for the layman. So I'm working on one such
Okay.
very important and very prestigious project, and it focuses on naval history. That's all I can say. And once it's out, I'm
Okay.
sure I'll be able to share what was it all about. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
for
We'll look forward to it for sure.
thank you.
So you have mentioned that you love writing. Actually, you have done a lot in the writing field. So when did you start writing? When did you publish your first article?
I know this sounds like really phony, but I started writing quite young. Okay, like I was a teenager when I started writing, and very obsessed with those romanticism and all of that. So I would also write poetry. I still write poetry.
Huh.
I think I'm a decent poet. So I used to do all of that. I used to regularly do journaling, and I think at a
Hmm.
young age, if you do that, no, it really helps not
Yeah.
only to
Yeah.
cope up with your teenage emotions, but it also gives you that habit of writing. And so now I understand the importance of it, so I would do that. Somehow my mom really hated me for writing the poetry then. She's like, what are you doing? But anyway, I would do that. I think like by the time I reached in my graduation, I would write for our college magazine. You have those in-house magazines. I was in the gender forums, I would write for them. But my official like published article was really late. I published a co-authored paper in where I was doing museology, like my second master's. I think that was in 2015. We had a conference. We had an international conference of CDoc. So there I presented a paper with one of my classmates, and it was very well appreciated, and it got published. So yeah, 2015 was when I officially published a paper, like the academic thing. So yeah, that's when I did it first.
Okay. So when did you decide to start writing your book? Tell us more about your book. What is it about? We already know the title for sure. So like, what's
Yeah,
inside it?
what's inside? Without reading, you won't know. Just joking.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, just give a gist of it.
yeah, okay. So actually, I did not decide to write the book. I mean, yeah, it was like when I was pursuing my when I was doing my bachelor's, I thought that maybe somewhere in my late 30s, I would want to write a book. But it was always fiction. I never thought I would write an academic book. So when I was actually working with the Maritime Research Center Pune as a researcher, I was supposed to be there only for 6 months, okay, as a researcher, and I was supposed to write a couple of papers which basically explored the work which can be done in underwater archaeology. So see, what Maritime Research Center Pune does is, see, basically they're focusing on underwater domain awareness, and it's head by these very techie people, like the director, my guide. He's also an IIT pass out, and they're all engineers. So they thought that it would be interesting to focus a little on the heritage side. So that's how they got in touch with me, and it was a chance find, like they say in archaeology, and I sort of collaborated with them. But what happened is, when we started researching and when I started writing papers, we thought that there is so much to do and there's so less done. And we sort of evaluated the situation, and we realized that right now there's hardly anything which is happening. If you see what's happening in Egypt and US and elsewhere, there's like no work which is happening in India. And there is no sort of scale where you can even map. We're nowhere closer to the standards that they have. Of course it is influenced by a lot of factors, but I mean, come on, we are in 2021. So when all of this was happening, and when I thought my tenure over there was getting over, the Indian Maritime Foundation was very was very kind, and they awarded me a fellowship to for a year to write the book. They said, just expand this, just explore more and write a book, because we realize that people are not aware of it, because see, when we are talking about maritime heritage and studies, and see, the reason why people, like students, don't even know how to go about it is because there's no awareness. So with that idea, I accepted the offer, although I would say don't try writing a book in 1 year, because it's very challenging. It is crazy, but it's a fun thing. I think I'm glad I finished it. And see, my book, like you said, yeah, it is about underwater archaeology, but people say it's about a niche. But when I was writing it, I thought I am writing it with an aim that it is a good read for anyone who wants to know about underwater archaeology in India specifically. Okay, so what is the good amount of work that has happened in India, and where are we standing now, and how we can go further. So that is what the book aims to spread, that awareness about what we have in terms of our heritage, how much we have, and to encourage more students like you, and to put pressure on the bureaucracy and the admin to actually give us opportunities, have more openings in colleges and courses, and so that this discipline does not become a dead discipline. Right now I think it's a dead discipline. No one's doing anything. So yeah, that's what is there in the book. And of course there are some complicated topics also which I've covered. It's slightly like maritime laws and how we don't have that for underwater archaeology and all of that. So I think in one book, it's a very it gives you a comprehensive idea. So it's a good read. Maybe you should all go and read it once. So
I will. Yeah,
actually, because it's there. Because some students said they don't want to buy the hard copy, and then I made sure it's also available in the Kindle version. So I think it's easily accessible. So you should all go and read it once.
Yeah, that's what, like, I'm really interested in underwater archaeology, and that's why it's really, I'm having fun having this conversation with you, and I'm looking forward to reading your book soon.
Yeah, sure. Please get in touch with me if I am able to help you in any way whenever you want to do your scuba. So get in touch with me.
Yeah.
I'll help you with that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's about your book. Now, you recently undertook a project at the Tenzing Norgay Museum. So could you please tell us more about the project there?
So like I said, after I did my museology, the only work related to museums was that 1 year project which I did in Deccan College as a documentation assistant, because I shifted to maritime. So this was like a breath of fresh air. Tenzing Norgay Museum is in the Indian Mountaineering Foundation, which is in South Campus, Delhi. And it's the apex organization for mountaineering and allied sports. I did not know anything about it, but I have a lot of friends in defense. So one of my friend is in the army, and he told me he's a member of IMF, and that's how work happens in my life. It just happens. So he said, okay, they're looking for a museologist, and do you think you can help? So they have good collection of personal equipments of pioneers who have done mountaineering, and they have really nice rare photographs and all of that. But that was just like stacked in a room. So I went there and I thought this is interesting, because again, I think I have something for niche things. I would always want to do something that nobody knows about. So I thought this is a good learning process, and it was really fun. People were really nice. I met a lot of Everesters and people who have scaled Everest, and it was really nice.
Hmm.
So yeah, that museum now, I'm not bragging about myself, but that place is really good. If someone's there, you should go, because it tells you about the story of mountaineering in India and how
Okay.
it is a sport. Because see, their aim is also to spread awareness about it, and they want more youngsters to, sort of go for that training,
Hmm.
because it's I think it's a purpose. You live for a purpose. It's just not about, say, earning money or doing something, so
Yeah.
so that is what about is about the museum. So it's a good place. You all should go whenever you're here.
Yeah. So, do you look forward to any more such projects related to any museums, or just like, will you take up any project in a museum, since now you're working with the defense and you are into underwater archaeology and maritime studies? So,
I think I would definitely do it. Okay, so I think I appear as a very whimsical person to people because I just do. See, I have done. My background is very diverse. Okay, so I feel that if I have an opportunity to leverage the education that I've received, why not? See, museology is
yeah,
a very very amazing discipline. It's very dynamic. You get to learn so much every day. You get to meet people. You get an opportunity to get into their minds, and how to display and put up an exhibition. And also depends on what, if you're doing documentation, that it's very important, but it's very boring. So I would definitely
yeah,
love to I would love to do anything in life which is related and maybe not related to the education that I've done. So yeah, but, they're building a new museum. So I don't know, if they call me again, I would be more than happy to go and do it again. So yeah, why not?
okay, okay. So, what kind of advice would you like to give to young researchers or students who are still trying to build their careers, in academia or in museums or underwater archaeology, whatever? Yeah.
It's a very, very tough question, okay? And I'll try my best to answer it. No, I see the good part is that you see nowadays we have like this chat is happening, we have this forum, we can at least ask people. When I was trying to plan my career, I had no clue. I had no one to ask. I did not
Hmm.
ask anyone. I just went with the flow. I just did whatever I felt like doing.
Uh-huh.
But see, I get this question a lot, okay, and I think it's a very serious question, and one needs to have some segregation in their mind. So I
Yeah.
would like to say, first, in your mind you need to understand, are you in it for the money, or
Hmm.
you're doing it for your passion? No, because you really love
Yeah.
doing, because according to what little bit knowledge that I've acquired till this age, I feel that most of the times what you love doing is not going to pay you much, and
Yeah.
what is going to pay you much, it's not enjoyable. So I think
Yeah.
one needs to, sort of decide, is my goal in life to earn a lot of money, or should I follow
Hmm.
my passion? Now many people say, I've heard people say, Are follow your passion, money will also come. uh Sorry, but in my case that did not happen. Okay, so
Hmm.
sometimes if you really want to follow your passion, you need to ensure how are you going to earn your bread. So probably you'll have to
Yeah. Yeah.
navigate, you'll have to think of innovative ways of how you can do something which gives you
Hmm.
money to follow your passion, and it
Hmm.
also gives you the time to follow your passion. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think and there are also personal factors. Some people or some students would want to do only what their parents. So even I tried to do that. My mom wanted me to be a doctor, and I couldn't even dissect a frog. Now what was the point? I didn't want to be a dentist or the
Yeah.
haddiyon ka doctor. So
Yeah.
that didn't work out. So sometimes it's also that pressure, and so many people also, they just want to go on a straight path. Oh, let us, we'll
Hmm.
do a master's and then we'll get a job. And so if you have to support a family, if you have to get married till a certain age, if you have these kind of restrictions, I'll say go for a straight path, go for a professional course which will, and do it nicely. Do it from a
Hmm.
good reputed organization or an institution,
Hmm.
and it'll end you a decent job. Okay, so that's a
Hmm.
choice which you have to make. And if you are getting into research, into academics, life is very different. Okay, it's slow,
Yeah.
things will happen really
Yeah.
slow, you won't be paid as much, so you need to figure out how. So that's how I got more into writing, because I do a lot of
Hmm.
creative non-academic writing. Firstly, I enjoy
Yeah.
doing it, secondly, it pays me. Okay, so
Yeah.
I sort of found that as a way to fund. Now I want to go for further dives, I want to expand, I want to do more courses. So how is the money going to come, right? So
Yeah.
I think just write it, it's easy, just write it on a paper. What age do you want to get married? Do you even want to get married? That's your choice. And do you want to make so a lot of money? Do you want like a fancy car or whatever, or are you in it just because you just love doing? Like for me, knowledge gives me that high. I feel happy
Mm.
when I'm doing
Mm.
something related to writing, research. And I know that my research in marine archaeology is going to be pretty slow. Things might take a lot of time, but I've not given up. I feel that okay, at least I'll keep diving. At least I'll keep exploring. You never know. I might find some wreck somewhere in Goa or somewhere, and I might just write a paper and be famous. I mean, you need to take
Yeah.
that risk. So I think
Yeah.
it's up to you. Either you want a straight path in life, or you want or you can experiment. You can explore. Like I explore a lot. So you can choose that. And also I think what so I also think that in terms of heritage, jobs in heritage are very scarce in India, because heritage as
Yeah.
a how do I say it? Like a sector, it's not developed. Like people don't even know.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you tell someone you're an archaeologist, they'll be like, who is an archaeologist? Oh, you're a
Yeah.
writer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you guys even get money? People ask me that. Do you even
Yeah.
want money? Because you're a writer, because you're a researcher. So a lot of these things are there. So heritage sector is any which way is doing very bad in our country. So I won't say that doing museology is shortly going to give you a job. That's not true.
Mm.
It
Mm.
might give you a little leverage over academia or research, but again,
Yeah.
you have to be good at it. You have to be hardworking. Do it from a good institution. Because I don't want someone to quote me, or Tiya Chatterji said that do museology, you'll get a job. I've done it. Now I am not getting a job. It's very difficult. If see, I think the moment you sign up for humanities, the struggle is real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
है ना?
For sure.
So it is
Yeah.
just about how you manage. And I think try to find a balance. It will be very taxing, and it's a bonus if your parents are supportive. Like my parents are very supportive, thank God.
Mm.
But try to find a balance. Don't give up on your if someone wants to do marine archaeology, don't give up. Try to learn
Yeah.
diving at least. Kuch nahi hai to be a diver. It will still give you
Mm.
some good money, and it will be fun. You just have to do it
Yeah.
2-3 hours in the morning, and then you're free for the whole day. Do some other job, do some other work.
Mm.
But that's if you want to be a professional scuba instructor, and that's not easy. You have to do many courses, and you have to do 50 dives, and that's like a
Yeah.
lot. You'll take 2-3 years, 2 years at least to do it if you go only in
Hmm.
seasons. So just giving an idea if someone wants to do that, so why not? वैसे भी there are very
Yeah.
less girl female divers. So I don't know. I've considered that as my retirement plan. I'll become a scuba instructor. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope
So
that
since
helps. Yeah.
uh, since you just mentioned your retirement plan, it was a kind of a fun way of saying it. But still, I want to ask you: do you have any plan for the future? Like immediate plan? Immediately, I guess you are still working with the Indian Navy thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
after that, do you have any
So
plan?
see, I think it might. I don't know if it's too early to mention this because you guys are going to broadcast it. So like I said, see, my idea of dissemination of knowledge, I advocate that a lot, and I also believe a lot
Hmm.
in implementable research. See, research
Okay.
nowadays we need to also look at our research problems differently. We cannot do research on a door or on a hairstyle and write a book and put it in the library. There's a utility.
Hmm.
Now do something
Hmm.
that has implications which are diverse in nature. So my idea to raise awareness about, say, our heritage and bridging the gap between the layman and the professionals, I'm currently working on something. I am writing something which is related to maritime, but surprisingly, it's not academic, it's maritime fiction. Because when I wrote my
Okay.
first book, many people were like, oh, this is academic. Yeah, we really want to read your book, but it's academic. So I
Yeah.
thought that why not to reach out to people, tell them about the amazing culture that we have in a fun way.
Yeah.
I'll not reveal the genre of the book, but yes, I am working on maritime fiction, and which way it gets a little stagnant. I hope I am able to bring that out sooner. And that's a very fun thing. I thought I'd take a break from research and do this. The future plan is I definitely am looking at doing further research in marine archaeology. Don't ask me how, because I have no clue.
Okay.
See, these organizations are very dated. There are hardly any organizations. Whom are you going to work with? The moment you go, they'll give you a long list, do a PhD, do a net, and this and that. And see, one thing, like, I'm sorry, I'm very young to say this, and I'm saying it on public platform. See, your degrees do not tell how knowledgeable you are. See, Bisht sir, and there are so many other archaeologists, they never had a PhD. They're amazing archaeologists, okay? So this thing that I think this is some kind of, bureaucracy that we have done, that you need to have a PhD to teach or to give a lecture, and all this is crap. Sorry for this, it's not crap, but it's not good, you can't impose. See, because see, someone who is doing something regularly, or who's out there on the field might know more than someone sitting in the classroom doing like 4 degrees, right? So it's very complicated. So I think what the way I've chosen is independent research. Right now I call myself as an independent researcher, and I'm working on simultaneous things. So I took a break and I wanted to write fiction. I'll definitely get back to academics, so I think I'll do it independently. I'll try to get some funding from somewhere. I'll try to, probably collaborate with, I don't know, maybe someone from the West, because I don't know, in India, I've tried and I don't know what is the problem. Do I look that unapproachable? Nobody wants to work with me. So anyone who's seeing this, I am very approachable, yeah, and I don't know what is the bias. Maybe because I'm young, not that young, but maybe I'm a girl. I don't know. So this is also a problem. Young talent does not get recognition. I don't know, yeah. How can you say if someone is young, they don't know? But I've also done 2 masters. Yeah, come on, I've written a book, so I know something. Now, if I get a collaboration with someone senior, that's a very good opportunity for me to learn. How am I supposed to learn more if you're not approachable? That's the problem. How are the students going to learn?
Yeah.
So I think, please broadcast this nicely so that everyone hears this and gives all of us a chance. And, because in NIO also, I don't know what's their system. Everywhere it's the same system. Enroll for a PhD. But okay, you do a PhD, you will have one topic and one research area, right? You will spend, say, average 5 years of your life. What are you going to do after that? Whatever you have done for that 5 years, one research, you will find out, say, one thing. You find out one thing or a rec or something. You'll focus on one thing, right? To write a thesis. And then for the next 30, 40 years of your life, you'll talk about that same thing. So I personally feel, I might be wrong, but I think that instead of that, if I do independent research with like-minded people for whom degrees are not important and they are ready to explore, in my lifetime of next, say, even if I'm alive for the next 40 years, if I'm living a healthy life, I have the opportunity to explore more than just do one thing and talk about one shipwreck for the next 40 years of my life. I will have better things to tell you. Every time you guys call me, I'll have something new to say. Like every 5 years, I have something new. So, but it's the path to independent research is very difficult. You have to pull in a lot of your money. You have to travel on your own. I just recently had a very long travel because I wanted to collect some data for my current fiction project. So yeah, those challenges are there. So I hope you guys find a balance somewhere in between. So yeah, that's my future plan. And you already know I intend on becoming a part-time instructor. So you'll find me on the beach somewhere teaching people how to dive. So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Actually, that's the most interesting part.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have had such a diverse academic background, right? Like you have done so much. Like you're still young and you have done so much. You have explored so much. Do you have any regrets? Like any particular thing that you regret?
Yeah, actually, I have a lot of regrets. So no, I'm just kidding. I don't have a lot of regrets. I just feel that see, guidance is right. Correct guidance is extremely important for it. Acts like a catalyst, and especially I think having good people in your life. I'm an empath, so I'm like very emotional. I soak in a lot of energies. If I'm in a room with 100 people, I don't mind. I'm very good at talking, but when till the time I go back home, I'll be like feeling really heavy. So I think the only regret is investing in the wrong people and also not able to find the right guidance at the right time. By the way, you said
Yeah.
I'm still young, so I take that as a compliment. I don't think I'm still very young, but I think I could have maybe done things in a more efficient way. I feel that I could have saved more time if I had
Hmm.
that right guidance. Because see, sometimes people will
Yeah.
not, they'll misguide you. See, that's why when people ask me how to do marine archaeology, that's why I give a very unbiased opinion to people. I tell them, okay, do you want a job for money? Then don't do this.
Hmm.
Because I don't want to lure people. Tomorrow they'll go tell 10 people, Are Tiya Chatterji said Karlo and now we don't have a job. You need to be very honest, and the world is not very honest. So I think be very in your choices and be very watchful and just preserve your energy and just put it in your goals. Just achieve your goal. Because once you're closer to your goals and everyone, see, there's a famous saying. I don't know if it's famous, but I really like it. See, success has many fathers, and
Yeah.
so the once you're very successful, everyone will say we helped her with this, we helped her. But when you're doing it, it's really difficult. And I
Hmm.
think for the ladies out there who are watching this, just follow your dreams, make people believe that you are capable of doing anything that you want to do, even that the guys can do. So that those are my only regrets, but I'm lucky that I had some really good friends who always took me out of such situations. My family, definitely. So those are the only regrets. Otherwise, I'm happy. I just go for things and things have worked out. So yeah, like no more regrets. Yeah.
So, with this, we have come to the end of this session. On behalf of InArchCenter and myself, I thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. It was lovely having this conversation with you. And I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you
I
very
hope
much.
you enjoyed it too.
Yes, I really enjoyed, and I hope that, and thank you for organizing this because at the student level, things happen like really less. I think that's the best part
Yeah,
about this talk. And that's also my idea to bridge the gap between the layman and the professionals. And to build a
yeah,
team, we need to buid a strong team. And I hope that with each talk, I just hope that I'm inspiring more students to slightly go out of the way. And someday, when we are a handful in number, I think we can definitely bring about a change. So
yeah,
looking forward to
yeah.
that, and thank you very much, and all the best to everyone pursuing whatever you guys are pursuing in your life. Be very focused, work hard, also have fun. Go do diving, read my book,
Mhm.
and yeah, let's
Yeah,
hope that something really good happens in the field of underwater archaeology. Thank you very much.
yeah. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.